Hello. よろしくお願いします。Hey. Yes, just a late start. If you're still there, Mr. Bridgewater. A little loud in my ears. I want a little less music. That's good. And then Reason! こんにちは。すごい久しぶりだね。もう高校は卒業しましたか? Did you finish, did you graduate high school yet? I feel like it's probably been that amount of time. I finished high school and now you're uni. Hey, Gio, how's it going? Been a long time, everybody. Hey, Bridgewater, thank you. Yeah, it is set up on Twitch. I honestly, it's all out of my hands now, but I appreciate the sub. It does still work on Twitch and everything. Let's see if I remember hotkeys. Hey, hotkey memorization. Thanks so much for what did I used to say? Welcome to the Jelly Club. That's all I remember. 久しぶりですね。そう、久しぶりです。I literally don't even remember what I used to say. That's so crazy. I have a question. What's up, man? Hey, Zenny. Oh, man. What's up? The gas prices are up. Food costs are up. You graduated too? From college, right? You were in uni? Weren't you taking Japanese classes too? How you been, Zenny? Minna genki datta? Dude, I just got over high school. I just got over the weirdest, like, round of sickness. I was sick for 2. I look very small. It's maybe too big. Slightly big. There we go. I had like 3 different headaches that combined then for like a week, and it just wouldn't go away. Then it went away. Then I got another fever, then another headache, and then I was like sick with a cough and cold, and so I was like sick for 2 weeks straight. It's crazy. You guys still studying Japanese? Or still learning? What have you guys been up to? How's life? How's school? How's work? Are you moving on to things? Things been good with me. I don't even know when the last time we talked to us. I have another child now. I have 2 children. Hi. ちゃんと勉強してますか? Always, still learning, always learning. That's great. Tell you what, I definitely do learn a lot more teaching Japanese. Feels like that's the way I always kind of keep learning more stuff, is just teaching stuff, and then sometimes students ask just really good questions, and I go, I haven't thought about that before. That's a great question. Been too busy programming to study for a while, but I haven't forgotten much. Yeah, I think you forget words, but the kind of general, like random words, but the general feel for like Japanese and kind of what you learned before doesn't really go away. 少しもっと学んでいました. You were stuttering, like you're trying to say you were studying more before, maybe? The thing let's see. What was I gonna do? A video. Yeah. Started reading Chibi Maruko-chan no Bunpo Kyoshitsu, but probably gonna set it aside for a while. Is it like a light read or is it a heavy read? It sounds heavy at the moment. Very bitter 68. Apparently my bit rate is wrong, so whatever. はい。今は忙しいけどまだ学んでいます。いいね。ジオは何を勉強してますか？アニメを見てますか？ It's from a series of books intended for school children. Cool. That's cool, man. Actually, stuff like that, like content that's intended for, you know, actual native speakers, that is for teaching. Super challenging sometimes, but very kind of fun. Like kind of getting your own little like window into how, you know, Japanese kids are learning has always been something that's really fun for me. The thing, I feel like there's a couple things that I keep thinking about. The number one, I think, thing that I've been teaching my students about lately is like, I don't know, maybe you guys have found better stuff online, but it just always seems like there's very little practical immersion advice. It always seems like it's always very like heady. You know, everybody's got lots of good, sometimes good takes on, you know, how to do, you know, what should I watch, or like, you know, don't do too much of this, but it never really gets down into the details, for good reason, because I feel like a lot of people don't actually, even if they're good at it, they might not necessarily know how to explain it or teach it to somebody else. Because honestly, it's only really through me trying to talk about it with my students that I've gotten a much clearer idea of like what is good and what is bad. I don't know about bad, but yeah, sure. But yeah. The other thing I keep thinking about is, that's definitely number one. The other one is like the amazing like organization of Japanese conjugation. I don't know. This language just continues to surprise me with like, obviously it's not like they planned it, or whatever, but it justすいません。何を言いましたか？私はジオさんは最近何を見ていますか？アニメを見ていますか？ドラマを見ていますか？何を見てますか？最近。And I think essentially the, main concept that this goes down is the Goldan verbs. I actually still don't really know exactly what that is. But to me, I suppose it's the same thing. But like the a, I, u, e, o. I think that's what Goldan is, right? Once again, language. Evolution trumps the powers of intelligent design. What do you mean? Like the natural evolution of language just changing itself versus somebody trying to make a language and make it work and stuff. Yeah. it's crazy. Like, you know, English Satori Reader is excellent for reading. Yeah, very true. I think about that a lot, Bridge. I've heard of Satori Reader, and I feel like I've looked at it once before. Satori Reader. What was that? Read and practice your Japanese. Supportive community. Well, おじいちゃんは懐かしいな。この焼き団子と言った。え How it works? Let's look into it.
Looking to learn Japanese in a fun and dive in definitions attached to each word.
Satori Reader. Why do you like Satori Reader? Jake. If you like it, tell me like why is it good for you? Because it might be really good for you, but depending on what somebody might want to learn, it might not be good for them. So like when you do that and when you study that, like what exactly are you getting out of it that feels really good for you? I'll admit that the Goju-on is far more understandable to me than Iroha, but I don't know that it's necessarily better. What are those? What are the difference of the? What are those? I've definitely isn't Goju-on just the concept of all the hiragana? But what would Iroha be or Irowa? Okay, beginner to advanced. SRS built in. Oh, the SRS is built in? is a poem that contained all of the kana used at the time once each. So it's like it is a famous poem, you're saying, or it's like a genre of poem? If SRS is built in, that can be good. The what is ultimately, you know, people will go around, and I'm guilty of this too. I don't know if guilty is the right word, but it's like, you know, we can say that this is good or that's good. This is good or that's good, or you know, this that's why Iroha is another basics. Famous film. Okay. That sounds cool. You know, I might have even seen it before. It's the brown fox version of a Japanese version of the brown fox. You know, because like when I talk to students about this, you know, like any good teacher, when they start out like teaching somebody, is like, you gotta like, and you know, whether you're getting a teacher or not, it's like, if you're like, okay, if you're trying to like do Japanese, you know, learn Japanese, like you have to actually set goals that make sense. Like, you know, learn Japanese, like that's not a real goal. So kind of like, you know, you need to be specific. And if you just say learn Japanese, then you just kind of go on this super big, like, I don't know, like spider web of exploration that kind of has you split up everywhere, and you're not actually, I don't know, you might not actually be retaining too much. But, for example, if, Satori Reader, I got to look at the content, but it looked kind of like a mix between like daily conversation and stories, which could be really good. It's like basic reading level. And then you go to Satori Reader. That's like an awesome way to like get started. It doesn't really, especially when Japanese is your hobby, like the long-term goal is just, learn some Japanese for most of you. But as long as you're starting out somewhere rather than kind of going like, oh, I'll try this and this and this and this and this and this. Like, just try to find one thing, just reading. Just do Satori Reader or something. And then, get really good at it. Refine your skills in Satori Reader and then move on. Don't only do that, of course. You don't have to continue doing it forever. My guess is Satori Reader, you can tell me wrong, but it's like, eventually it's just going to give you just the same as like Anki. It's like, it's just going to give you a ton of vocab to memorize and stuff. Hirorin, konnichiwa. あれスマブラの違うかな and you just kind of end up learning a bunch of words, which is cool and all, but, it doesn't make you necessarily more fluent at, speaking the language. スマブラの人です。こんにちは。あれ、マスターハンドが、再開するって、再開するって、聞きましたか？再開っていうか、また始まる。大阪ちょっと遠くて。大阪の人じゃなかったんですか？そう。まあ。なんか少しでも、大阪って、この4年間何もないから、スマブラの大会とか。私はもう行けないけど。結婚してて子供2人いて。I feel like more has settled into my mind by doing nothing than the SRS did for me in the short term. Honestly, I think that's accurate. Just think of it like it. That's why I always say Anki is the king if you're trying to take a test, right? We need short-term information to pass a test, and then you can move on. So if that's why, like, the best, I think, application of Anki would be if you could let's say you are living, honestly, okay, let's just imagine we're in the best situation, which is living in Japan. You're living in Japan, you go and talk about, whatever. First time meeting someone. All right, and then you go meet somebody. Go meet, write some words from that combo, and then put in Anki, practice, go back, meet someone else new. Like, that is truly the ideal situation for Anki. I think. Besides taking a test, if you can, like, have you, whether it's anime or whatever, like, you're trying to, like, refine the vocab. Same with Satori Reader. If you're using Satori Reader and trying to, like, find the words that you will actually, I guess you kind of have to guess at, that you will actually use in real life. And, this definitely isn't stuff like Genki textbook #1. They have astronaut. It's like, no, like, let's not learn the word astronaut, There's a fancy term for that kind of ゲームアプリ一番は勉強すると思うそう。App. That's fine. アプリ Just no 小さい2 in there. So you want to say ゲームのアプリで 一番勉強してるのはゲームのアプリです。or ゲームのアプリだと思う。そのゲームのアプリで一番勉強してると思います。Recently got some Go books that are old enough that the board diagrams use kanji for numbering the stones played and the iroha for... Oh, now I know what you're talking about for iroha. I have seen that before. I never really knew what it was, but like you kind of pick up on what it is. I know what you're talking about now. No associated text. No, you need to look at it. It's way more advanced than that anyway, just my opinion. Nah, I mean like, yeah. If it's good, it's good. Anki is in the flashcard app site. Yes. I saw a thing recently that said the best way to learn is in a state of play. State of play. I don't consider Anki to be playing. Yeah. Anki is for learning things that don't have much surrounding context. It's great for learning the kana, definitely. For example, it's a set of shape sound associations. Oh yeah. Like if you could, I'm sure somebody's made it, but just like, you know, with sounds and shapes and stuff, I, U, A, O, like learning all that, you know, stuff like that is great with Anki. I think the way Anki is used the most right now is the way that people are misusing it. And this is because of, you know, people, big YouTubers who love Anki. And they're just a different breed of person. Like, you know, do a bajillion words and eventually you'll understand and be fluent. Like this is kind of like the what people think Anki does. Dave through Jesus. Hey, is that Dave? Looks like it. Hello, my brother. God bless you and continue to make you a blessing. Thanks so much, man. Thanks so much. Yeah. Good to see you. Good to talk to you. Hoping you're well. I'll catch up with you on Discord. Maybe we can have a chat. Would be good to catch up. But I think that's what most people think Anki is, and this is really a bad way to, you know, understand Anki, because it's just not, yeah, like I mean, no context, like it's not fun. You know, you can kind of do, definitely not the fluent thing. You can do Anki as supplement, like. Anki is a great supplement if you're doing other stuff. You know, but really Anki should be, you know, not a, maybe that's what it is. It's like Anki should not be a new source of words. You know, unless you're studying for a test or unless you're like super bored because you already know a lot of stuff. Shouldn't be a new source of words. It should be, you know, like words you already know / have seen and you want to remember them. But I think what people do is they'll watch an anime and they're mining, you know, and they'll just be like, oh my gosh, I don't know that word, gotta write it down. Otaku jiki desu ne. Otaku jiki? Otaku jiki de ne. Ferris Clark, nice to meet you. 今はオタク時期ですか? The other problem with Anki for learning languages is that it doesn't provide anything over the natural repetition you get from reading and listening. Right. You know, if I probably wouldn't because I just don't like to. You know, the irony of Anki, like, I'm sure it is more effective to do it and you know, do all the other things that I usually talk about. よろしくお願いします。はじめましてですよね。ポンピ。スクー。いらっしゃい。Personally, like, okay, let's say I watched an anime, or honestly, I used to watch, love to watch movies. Really bad movies. That was what I used to love to do. Still do it sometimes. And it's like, okay, let's say you see a word like, you know, hotondo, and then like, yappari. Okay, let's say you see these two words. Anki had so much, right? So much work. That's the main reason I wanted to stay away from Anki. It's a lot of extra work for what feels like very little return. I hit the guest mode limit for it, so I can't even use it anymore. For Anki? Or, because I don't think Anki has any limits or anything. Or the Satori reader. But I'll check it out, Jake. Thank you. Anki is stressful. It is. Like I said, Anki is its number one use is for passing the JLPT or passing a test. If I had Anki, you know, when I was studying Japanese in college, that would have been very nice. That would have been very, 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 very nice. You know, kanji as well. Like, I think if you're studying kanji for a test, very good. If you're trying to study kanji overall, like Bridge was saying, I don't think Anki is very good for that because it's so much easier to remember kanji through context. You know, just like blah, 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 water, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know, if you already know, like, yeah, I drank water yesterday, it was cold, you know, like, I'll probably remember that sentence, and then that sentence will help me remember the images that I formed when I, you know, did that sentence. But, you know, let's say you're watching a movie and you see these two words and you keep seeing them and you're like, oh, I gotta put them in my Anki deck. Like, I think that's a lot of people who do Anki, that's kind of their thought. But now I would argue these type of words are definitely like some of the most important words, hands down. If you ignore these words, which I might have talked about it the last time we streamed, but this idea that I have, it's called the hiragana rule, for immersion. Maybe that's what I should do a video about. But essentially, like, the idea that if you're, let's say you're watching, I personally think anime is fine, but I think you're going to learn a lot more from just regular movies and dramas, like things with people, not like, you know, aliens and ninjas. It's fine, you know, just don't do only that and you'll be fine. But, you know, you're going to come across these type of words that are just in hiragana over and over and over. 今日の調子はどう?もうこの2週間、先週と先々週はずっと風邪かなんかで、めちゃくちゃ大変だったけど、もう2週間ずっと仕事を休まないといけなくて、でも今はもう咳だけだから大丈夫です。I've never thought about it like that. It's easier to remember kanji through and being yourself in context. Oh, everything is easier in context, you know. That's just how we learn language and everything in life. You know, very, very rarely do we, you know, unless it's something that you really love. Like, you know, when I studied American history in high school, there was no context necessarily, but I really liked the content. So I tended to remember the stuff that we learned about in class, and I had questions about it. It was fascinating. And so therefore it sticks. But virtually everything else, it's like, you know, how did you ever learn the word apple? It was like when you were a baby, you saw it, your mom or dad said apple, 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 apple over and over. Then you associated with red. But then one day they showed you a green apple, and then you're like, what is that? What is that, an apple? And they're like, and they go, apple, and you go, I thought apples were red. And you know, you slowly learn things over context. Then they open it, and you get, it's white inside. And then eventually you learn there's seeds, and then you learn seeds plant things, and then you learn seeds plant apples. Like, you know, that's just how we learn things, is repetition slowly over time through context. And so that's what I recommend for, like, you know, definitely, like, do not like let these words go unnoticed. if you see hotondo or yappari or, sorekara or soshite and, things like that that are pure hiragana words, they're going to be the most important. And you want to pay attention to those more over pretty much any other word you see when you're doing at-home immersion. It's like a really easy rule to follow. And so look it up, kind of you don't need to memorize what the English is. Just have a general idea what the English is. Hotondo is like almost, right? You might not remember it perfectly. Yappari, definitely a harder one to understand. It's going to take time. You're like, I looked up the meaning, but I still don't understand. And just over and over and over, I promise you're going to watch another bad movie or you're going to watch another drama, and these words will show up over and over and over and over. But you know what word's probably not going to show up over and over? The one that's very specific to the show, right? Let's say I'm watching a drama. Hotondo. Yeah. We see the kanji sometimes, but to be honest, you'll almost never see that word with the kanji. Especially in shows and things like that, in the subtitles. And that's because it's common and important. Lots of words have kanji, lots of words don't use those kanji. Tenkosei. I feel like you'll see it more in maybe reading or poems, potentially. Or lyrics. Definitely lyrics. Song lyrics is where I probably see... Yeah, absolutely. That's where I've seen the kanji for hotondo the most, is in songs, like karaoke and stuff. But if I'm watching that same show, let's say I'm watching a show and it's like, oh, there's a new student. Tenkosei. Like, even if you don't know how to read that, you should probably skip it. You might actually, if you just keep watching, you might actually learn what it is through context. Wouldn't that be crazy? So it's okay to ignore. And, it's a tricky, slope, because you're like, but what if I don't understand? Or like, what am I going to do? But it's fine, Trust me, just skip the kanji that, is weird and you don't know what it is, and pay attention to the words like this, because you're going to see these and hear these over and over, no matter what you're watching. It could be anime, drama, movie, song, but you're probably not going to run into the word tenkosei again, unless it's like some kind of school-based show, drama, or movie, or anime, and there's a new student, a transfer student. So your chances of encountering that word are much more slim than a word like almost, right? So that's kind of the idea behind that, is you really want to try to choose the right words. And the hiragana rule really helps anybody do that, because it's very clear, like, oh, this word is in all hiragana. I should know it. Ohayo! Oshiel naba. And if you do tend to watch such shows often, you'll see the word again. Exactly. If you're into like the high school drama thing, yeah, you'll probably encounter tenkosei again anyway. It's gonna be okay. I think everybody's just always scared that like, oh, I'll never see that word again. I promise that can happen. Like there are words that I remember seeing 12 years ago, and I still haven't seen it again and I can't remember it exactly because it was very obscure. And but it's not that important of a word. I can't even remember. It was like waya or waza. If I looked it up enough, I'm sure I'd find it. But or sometimes I wanted to know a word 10 years ago, never showed up. I finally found it. That happens, quite often. Even now, not quite often, but it does happen from time to time still. I think it was like 2 years ago, I finally found the word for like side job. I had seen similar words, but there's like nothing was exactly what I wanted. And I finally heard it and I was like, oh, I've been looking for you for 10 years. you know, and that's just the way it goes. But these guys, I see him, hear him every day, you know. And the context rule then kicks in if it shows up in this particular kind of situation, right? You know. So I get it. People are scared that they're going to lose a word, and then by losing a word, you're somehow like, you know, going to be bad at the language or something. And that's just not true. You know, so don't take Tenkose, throw it in your Anki deck, and be like, Tenkose, Tenkose, Tenkose. Okay. Ah, yes. Finally, I remember. And then, like, what is it? You know, a month later, Tenkose pops up again, and you're like, ah, oh no, I forgot this one. What was it? Something about a student. It really doesn't matter. Like, if you eliminate that stress phase and just something about a student, because I remember the last time I watched that, then it shows up again in like your news show, and you're like, something about a student. All right, let's keep going. Just keep going. Yeah, exactly. Most important part, student. And if you just keep watching the show, it's like you'll get it. It's like, here's the Tenkose, and then like, oh, nobody's here. They're not coming. Oh no. You know, eventually, you know, and in the show that I'm thinking of, which I'm using for my students, if you just keep watching, Tenkose pops up like 50 more times. Good, exactly. So Bridgewater, somebody like you, that's exactly what you should do. It's like, you probably can guess what this might mean, or if you didn't know it, you're like, hey, I know these kanji, not exactly sure exactly what that kanji means. That's the type of studying you can do. So somebody who's a little bit more advanced, you know, and you already know these words, easy, whatever, you know, that's what you should do. It's like, hey, I understood the whole sentence, except there's this one kanji that I'm not familiar with. That's exactly what you should be doing. You know, for sure. Where is... yeah. So obviously this rule doesn't fully apply to irregular verbs, but you know, iku, ikemasu. But the way I teach, this is a very good applicable rule. And that's why I love it. Just makes it very easy for people to conjugate when you kind of realize everything is just connected. Let's go. Wish I could just listen to whatever music I wanted. So dumb. You know, just want to be able to listen to whatever I want to listen to. I'm at the point where I've been getting most of the sentences I've been seeing, but missing one or two compounds off from the verb. Yeah, that's exactly where you should be, you know? And, you know, at that point, it's the same for everybody. It's just a little bit of a grind. Not a grind, it's just that's where you are right now. And that's where you'll be for a very long time, until you really just kind of stop running into stuff that you haven't seen before. Everybody goes through that phase. So it's just like, you know, oh, that's cool. You know, I didn't know that. Time to look it up. And then you look it up and you move on, and You know, at this point, it's like, and stuff becomes less frequent, so it's actually easier to memorize stuff because you're not pushing so many words into your brain. This guy is cute. Which guy? Is there somebody else in the camera? How's it going, Paul? 日本語を勉強してますか? You studying Japanese? Or are you just here to appreciate this fine specimen? And what was the other thing I've been thinking about? There's one more. Definitely conjugation's been on my mind. The practical immersion. And good, mate, just listening while I work. Sweet. Then you didn't see my beautiful faces. You studying Japanese? Interested? Let's see, there's one. What was the other thing I've been doing? Let me look at my student Discord. I feel like I wrote it down somewhere. I guess it's the concept of button because. I don't exactly know how to explain. No, I play WoW with you. Oh, sick. Oh, is that gas? Hey, now I recognize it. Because I remember seeing your icon or whatever, your logo. Nice. What's up, man? Yeah, just thought I'd get a stream in. Yeah, I'm quitting WoW. So I think tomorrow my account runs out, so I'll see you on the flip side. I might come back in like 6 months when the time change happens again, so I can just, you know, do the Thursday runs with Dragon Snacks. But this song, I'm sorry, is just like a rip off of Mr. Blue Sky. I think, you know, we all learn, kind of explain it, like what is button because. I think it's very easy, like it's like 今日は you know 日曜日です。今日は水曜日です。Right? Today is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. And after you kind of get here, the next part you want to kind of go into is like, okay, yeah, today is Wednesday, but tomorrow is Thursday. Like, how would you say that? 日本語でなんて言う? That's a good question. If you don't know how to say it, then you really should know how to say it. You know, I'm going. Right? How do you say that? I'm going tomorrow because it's hot today. These are the kind of things that I'd say Wednesday. You know, we first have to be able to do this, right? So that's kind of like the first goal of if you realize, I don't even know how to say I'm going, you know, in Japanese, it's just ikimasu, ikimasu. Today is Wednesday. So how would you say today is Wednesday, but tomorrow is Thursday? How would you say I'm going tomorrow because it's hot today? So I feel like this is kind of, if you're, you know, trying to be conversational, ikimasu. So, ii desu ne, Felice-san. Very good. It's that simple, right? Very easy in Japanese. So I feel like that next stage, if you're trying to become more conversational in Japanese, is thinking about but and because sentences. So I think a lot of people will do like, and which is fine at the beginning as well. It's like, today is Wednesday, stop. Demo, blah, 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 is this. That's fine at the beginning as well. But even after that, you want to be moving on and kind of getting past that. So I think it's a very, very good measure of like, if you're already able to do this kind of stuff, today is Wednesday, it's raining, I'm going, I guess this should be I'm going to go to be a little bit more clear. I'm going tomorrow because it's hot today. So today is Wednesday, but tomorrow is Thursday. Would be 今日は水曜日だけど明日は木曜日です。And what a lot of people they'll do is, right, just like I said, they won't have だけど or けど. They'll say 今日は水曜日です。でも明日は木曜日です。Fine. It's fine. 明日は水曜日でも明日は and then I realized that Thursday is one of the gaps in my knowledge of weekdays. だけど yeah. So stopping the sentence, saying demo, it's not wrong, right? It's not wrong, but I think it's number one, kind of starting to think in longer sentences is a very key step in becoming more fluent in the language, becoming more conversational. If you keep stopping your flow of thought, like your train of thought, which is kind of what happens when you say 今日は木曜日です. Start a new thought. でも getting thought. Okay. But if you kind of train yourself, not only is it easier for listeners, like a native speaker, to listen if it's like this, it's easier if you do this. 今日は水曜日だけど, this is much easier to actually understand for the listener. Because they understand that there's going to be a related, idea or there's information coming after that's related to what I've already said. But when you stop, 今日は木曜日です。でも, like, I understand, it's kind of the same feeling, but it's like, oh. Like, I thought it was over. でも, oh, there's more? でも, it's, anything is predictable. 今日は水曜日だけど, okay, it's Wednesday. It just feels smoother. And practicing not stopping, I mean, there's a lot of benefits. So it's going to make you sound more natural. It's going to help your train of thought because, instead of taking a break here with demo, just make a slight change to dakedo. And it could be desukedo, if you really want to get into it. Suyobi desukedo just sounds a little bit too polite, to be honest. 明日は木曜日です。So I'm going tomorrow because it's hot today. What about that one? Give that a try. Yes. 2 hours ago. Just put together mokuyobi with mokuton. Mokuton. Was that the name of the ramen shop or something? No, it was Ichiraku, right? What's mokuton? Was mokuton the thing where they replaced the whatever with the wood? Is that what that is? And it's funny, I watched Naruto in English, like with English subtitles, so I never thought about what the Japanese actually was. The wood really, yeah. Never. The only thing I remember is Kagebunshi no Jutsu. Because I just never. I watched it fully in English subs because it was like when I was learning Japanese, I was like, this is like my most dedicated anime. I really don't want to miss any details. So I never really thought about what stuff was in Japanese. Might be fun to rewatch. So I'm going tomorrow because it's hot today. This is, but is easier for people. Read a lot of fanfic. 明日は行きますぜのは暑いです。違います。But you're close. 明日は I'm just not sure where you might just be mistyping. I bet you might know the answer, but you're just mistyping. So 明日は if I did that, this is what people usually do. This is what I was going to say. 明日は行きます。ぜの So if we start out like that, we're actually going to be doing it the wrong order. So we want to say, this is actually how I used to think of it. Because it's hot today, I'm going tomorrow. 今日は暑いから明日行きます. Nice. It's so hard to type on a keyboard. Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's correct. Who said that? Oh, backup. よくできましたね。そう。今日は暑いから明日行きます。That is perfect. Yep. Don't need the comma. I just think it helps people breathe. Japanese commas are not necessarily grammatical. They're actually more about breath. So, 今日は暑いから明日行きます. This also helps you kind of take your time to form your thoughts. My personal thought for Japanese was rather than this, because this order will probably confuse you like it did for Ferris, as it did me. I started to think like this, and everybody's different. You know, if you have a way that works, it's fine. This is just what I did. Because it's hot today, I'll go tomorrow. This is how I used to think about it. So that way I would at least get the right order. 今日は暑いから明日行く。明日行きます。What's the difference between a cat and a comma? Oh, a joke. A cat has claws at the end of its paws. A comma is a pause at the end of a clause. That's like a nice joke. Anyway, those are kind of the main three things I keep thinking about. And I feel like if you get a good grasp, the next step is kind of like having these both in the same sentence. Right? So it really is a good concept to think about if you want to improve your Japanese. You know, like, I wanted to I wanted to eat there because, this is very complicated, but just for example, because whatever, my friend said it's good, but when I went there yesterday, it was closed. Right? These are kind of the things that you don't really think about as a practice, like, oh, think of an example sentence. We usually don't kind of think of these kind of things, but if you are trying to write example sentences, use the button because idea, and you'll actually come up with some pretty decent sentences. And then you'll realize, geez, I don't even know how to say want. How do I say want to eat? And then how do I do wanted? And then combining it all together, actually not an easy task, Something more simple would be like, I wanted to go, but I was sick, so I couldn't. Yeah. Even little things like this, surprisingly complicated if you don't really know where to go in Japanese. So that's what I'd recommend if you're just trying to take another step into your, especially conversational Japanese is really where this helps. Because when you get into more complicated conversations, not even that complicated, this is still like beginner. These are the kind of things that come up, but if you haven't really practiced that structure or haven't gotten used to it, you're probably not going to do a very good job. Stream rate bit rate of 6800. Yeah, like Streamlabs like reset. Let's see before output stream video. Okay. Just reset. I got to change that. So I don't even know really what bit rate does other than I think it's video quality through streaming, but who knows? I'm sure Bridgewater knows. Yeah. All right, I'm thinking probably head out soon. Before I do, did you guys have any last questions or anything you wanted to say or talk about? 最後にあと5分ぐらいでもう終わろうと思ってたんですけど、最後に質問とか聞きたいこと、話したいことってありますか? What? All good? Alright. I think we'll peace out. I guess I can... whatever. I'll save this just in case somebody wants it later. Alright, well thank you guys so much for hanging out. Definitely more people than I was expecting. I'm always expecting just like 1 or 2 people to talk to, so it's really cool to meet a lot of you who are new. Yeah, definitely some new names, some very familiar names. And yeah, if you want to stay in touch, thanks man. Yeah. I definitely, I know I said this the last time and then had a baby, and baby is a baby. Old hag syndrome. Take care, man. Just caught the end of the stream. Otsukare-sama. Yeah, no, thank you guys. Was it? I wonder if it was ultra low latency. But yeah. Let me just throw my... you guys are if any of you are interested in, you know, lessons or just getting some consultation, this is my email. You can email me there directly. Otsukare-sama deshita. Hai, mana-san, arigatou gozaimasu. Definitely not an active server, but you know, if you just want to stay in touch, make sure you don't at least get notifications for streams and stuff. Here's my Discord. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Always fun to talk to you. And I will see you on the flip side. Mata ne. Arigato.